in the beginning of the purport, is saying that anything that is enchanting in this world is a representation of the Supreme Lord. Right? We have only two choices. Either we are enchanted by Krishna's smile, or we are to be enchanted by Maya. Right? By his mystic energy. So the choice is upon us. Which one do we want? Srila Prabhupada told a story of Narada Muni and the Supreme Lord in this connection. Since once Narada Muni was with the Supreme Lord and they were having a conversation. And then he says, being with you is so wonderful, right? It's so nice. I'm wondering, what is so enchanting about Maya to these people in this material world? Right? Many of you know this story, I think. Right? Then the Lord just smiled. Right? And he just touched him. So what happened? Immediately Narada Muni was transferred to a village, a beautiful, enchanting village on this material world. And he was like looking at the beauty of this place. And then at a distance, he saw a nice hut, and there was somebody there. So he just walked over there to see who it is, and so he can go and talk to somebody. So as he was getting near the hut, he was just standing over there. Then one beautiful young lady came to receive him. Right? It so happened this was the house of a Brahmana, and that Brahmana had a very qualified, young and beautiful daughter, and his daughter came out to receive him. So Narada Muni in this saw her, and he was enchanted. Prabhupada is the word here, right? Enchanted by Maya. He was so enchanted by her beauty, her grace. The words coming out of her mouth felt like, music to his ears. And he was so attracted by her features and beauty and words. And so he goes and asks the Brahmana, "Can you please give your daughter in marriage to me?" Right? This Brahmana is like, well, it's my great fortune. Narada Muni is asking, what more do I want? She just immediately agrees, said, yes, please. And there's a big wedding ceremony, and then, Narada Muni marries this beautiful girl. And then, one thing leads to another. He has a very nice married life. Both he and the daughter of the Brahmana are together worshipping the Lord. And, they are constantly engaged in serving the Lord, at the same time having a loving, reciprocating relationship. And then they have children, and then, they have one child, and they have a second child, and they have a third child. And Narada Muni is sitting over there reading, and the children are playing in the yard, and it's like a beautiful scene, straight taken out of the movies. Right? Well, it would have said they lived happily ever after. Right at that time, there was huge thunder and lightning. Right? And then the rain was incessantly pouring. And the rivulet that was flowing nearby became a roaring river. Huge, like whoosh, and water is just like gushing everywhere. And the river overflows the banks and just comes straight close to where the hut was. And then the water starts rising. And Narada Muni is like, taken all the children and his wife, and he's keeping them up in a high space, and he's trying to protect them. And then the water keeps increasing and increasing. And then it just comes all the way up to his nose. And then he's just kind of keep his head up. And then he's struggling to keep the children up and his wife up. And they're like about to fall inside. And this. And there's so much of anxiety to protect them. At that moment, he again he senses the touch of the Lord, and he's saying, "Oh, Narada, what's going on?" Narada Muni just wakes up and he's like, "Krishna, I got a good understanding of your Maya, your enchanting power of your Maya." All that happened in like split second over there. The Lord touched and gave him a sense of Maya. And then he gave him the sense of the enchantment of the Lord's smile. And the Lord smiled at him. I said, "Okay. I hope you don't have to go down to experience this." Just telling you is enough experience of Maya. But unfortunately, we want an actual experience of this. And that is why we are here. Right? That's exactly why we are here in this material world. And one life of experience is not enough. We say, "Oh, this lifetime, this was not correct. This thing I didn't do properly." This one element was missing. I learned this time. Next life, I will do it correctly. So, okay, try one more time. One more time, and then one more missing element is there. And it goes on and on and on. Actually, doesn't even stop there. Every lifetime, we are building a huge, bag full of desires. Maybe a mountain of desires. And our unfulfilled desires list is just going up and up and up. Nowadays, there is this talk about bucket list. Right? Things you want to do before you hit the bucket. Right? Have you heard of this bucket list? On any website you go, they'll say, "Here are 10 places to visit to put in your bucket list. Here are 10 foods you should eat to add to your bucket list. Here are 10 places you should visit. Here are 10 people you should meet." Like 10 here, 10 there, 10 that, 10 that. And then, your bucket list is becoming bigger and bigger. Right? That is the unfortunate situation of the living entities in this material world. We are enchanted by Maya. Instead of being enchanted by the beautiful smile of Krishna Balaram, we are enchanted by the illusory smile of Maya. And our life just goes on. Right? Srila Prabhupada here in the purport sort of gives us a hint in the purport, and actually in the sloka itself. Shuddha Goswami is using words to give us the hint on what are the 3 things that we are looking for in this material world. Anybody remembers important words in this that might give us a clue what we are looking for? In the sloka itself. The Lord is addressed as what? No, in the sloka is not called Uttama Sloka. He is called Vaikuntaha. What does Vaikunta mean? Vigataha kuntaha iti Vaikuntaha. Vigataha means taken away or gone. Kuntaha means anxieties. So when the Lord gave Narada Muni a little bit of flavor of this world, right, everything is so nice in the beginning. Then anxieties. This world is full of anxieties. We have anxiety that, if you have something, it is anxiety. If you don't have something, it's anxiety. When you don't have something, you're anxious to get it. Right? When you have something, what are you anxious about? Huh? Anxious about next level, and also anxious about keeping that level also, right? There's not only promotions in this world, there's demotions also. We're constantly struggling to maintain things. This world is designed, the material world is designed to, to always, they call it entropy, right? You study this in law of thermodynamics in engineering and undergrad, right? The nature of this world is what? Entropy. What happens? Nobody remembers. Entropy increases. This world is designed that anything is in order. You have to put a lot of energy to put something in order. Naturally, disorder. Right? Many of you might have seen, they made some depictions of what will happen to this world if humans disappear. Right? All the cities. Have you seen those? You just search it on YouTube. There's like a 2-minute, 3-minute clipping. Right? If all human beings disappear, what happens to this world? And they show that within 5, 10, 15 years, first, everything shuts down and systems will go off and power systems will shut down because many of them need a human intervention, a little bit of, somebody has to say yes. Right? So this way, everything, one by one, all things will start shutting down, and then animals and plants, and this will start ruling the world. How they talk about how even dogs and this, and your domesticated animals will all just this, and then the wild animals will come and they'll. Within a short years, grass will start growing everywhere. Right? Buildings will start crumbling. Big skyscrapers will come falling down. Within 100, 200 years, there won't be any sign that there was civilization itself. A good example of this in real life is Angkor Wat. Have you heard of Angkor Wat in Cambodia? It's said to be the world's biggest temple complex. Right? Actually, Angkor Wat, see, in not so distant past, you're only talking about 100, 200 years. You don't have to go back to 2,000 years to go to Roman Empire and all that. A few hundred years ago, the Indian Empire spanned all the way from Iran till, Cambodia, Burma, all this, everything, Malaysia, all this was just Bharatavarsha. So Cambodia had, big Vaishnava kings used to rule. In fact, I think it's the Cholan Empire or something that went over there, and they have this massive South Indian architecture temples. So they initially thought that there is this big temple and that's it. Then nowadays they have technology with satellites. They're able to do, laser imaging of the terrain. And they see buried under this big forest is a whole big city. So many houses and this, and it's spread over such a huge area, miles and miles. Now it's jungle. You can't even see that there was a building before. You're just flying up, you'll just see jungle out of jungle. So like that. So this anxiety is there in this world to keep all this together. And the Lord is called Vaikuntaha, one without anxiety. Right? Now, that is just the base level, that we don't want anxiety. Second thing that the Lord is talking about here, Sutta Goswami is saying, the word Maya is used differently in this word, in this verse. What is it used as? No, but Prabhupada is telling in the purport that Maya, in this verse, he says here in the word Maya is used in the sense of the Lord's mercy upon Kunti Devi. The Lord's merciful blessings. We are eagerly looking for the Lord's merciful blessings. We want blessings of the Lord, for opulence. We want, nobody, we're all longing for that enriching experience, right? For the opulence of the Lord. Unlimited opulence of the Lord. And we want the Lord's blessings to have, everything in sufficient quantity, all our desires to be satisfied and all that. And then finally, third thing we're looking for is, what is it? What do you think is the third thing in this verse? One was Vaikuntha, one was merciful blessings. Mohaya is the Maya part, right? That is the merciful blessings of the Lord. What is the other important thing that is happening in this verse towards the end? What is the Lord doing? Jihasa, smiling. So we want loving, smiling reciprocation. Loving reciprocation with whom? With the perfect person. See, the problem in this material world is because we all remember our reciprocation with Krishna. With a perfect person. A person who is actually capable of reciprocating perfectly. We are also capable of reciprocating perfectly in the spiritual world because we have the qualities of the Lord. Then why perfect reciprocation is not happening here? Why is that? Huh? We're trying to get that from something else. I'm only talking about getting from others. We are capable of that same perfect reciprocation. The Lord is obviously perfect reciprocator. And we as his amshas, we are also having that capability. But why don't we experience that? Do we have perfect reciprocation here? You're very clear on that? Yes. Huh? We are covered because the perfect reciprocation in the spiritual world happens because our desires are, everybody is desiring to serve the Lord, and it's like, they're all, Prabhupada keeps giving the example of putting a stone in a pond and keep putting the same, more stones in the same place. They reinforce each other. So like that, our ability to reciprocate, is not there because here each of us want to be the center of that reciprocation. And that is not a compatible situation because even if everybody wanted to serve you, here in this material world, we don't have a capacity to reciprocate back. That's a problem. And that leads to, obviously, a lot of anxiety, kuntaha. So we're looking for these three things, and these three things can come in relation with the Supreme Lord only. And, we have to work for the smile of the Lord. Right? And in this verse, we are given some hint about how do we get the Lord to smile. So, we have talked about, Prabhupada is, um, when he was actually talking about this particular verse, he gave a lot of attention to the words Khala Padaihi. Khala Padaihi. So Kunti's prayers are described as Khala Padaihi, by chosen words, by choice words. Right? When you really love somebody, you want to speak very nicely to them. Right? You want to speak pleasing words. You'll carefully choose the words you're saying, in order to please somebody you love. So we are told in this verse, by this verse, that we should try to get the Lord's pleasure, the Lord's smile, by our prayers. Right? And specifically, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about the 5 austerities of speech. Right? So when we are talking to Krishna, we should emulate those 5 austerities of speech when we are talking to Krishna also. Right? Anybody remembers what the 5 austerities of speech are? Any of them? One or two of them? It should not be agitating to others, not hurtful to others. What are the other 4? It should be very pleasing. Then it should be beneficial. Right? Pleasing. It should be truthful. If it's not truthful, right, none of this matters. And then finally, yes, it should be. We should recite regularly from the Vedic literatures. Right? And Prabhupada, while describing this, he says, anything you say about Krishna, it is truthful. That is the beauty of Krishna. You call Krishna, you're the biggest thief, it is truthful. Krishna so masterfully wished to steal butter and feed the monkeys. Right? Nobody can be a better thief than Krishna. Right? If you read the Krishna book, the description of how they would strategically use their jewels, right, to light up the storeroom, and then with the help of that light, they would climb up all these different things and reach out to the hard to reach butter up there, and then not with too much finish, they just break the pot, and as butter is pouring out, they would just throw it out the window to the monkeys. So anything you think about Krishna is actually very truthful. The Lord is very, if you say, the Lord is the biggest cheater. Yes, the Lord cheated Bali Maharaj. He cheated Hiranyakashipu. Right? So like that, you can see that everything about the Lord is truthful. And obviously, as devotees, we have the desire to please the Lord. Right? And reciting from the Vedic literatures. There are so many beautiful prayers in the literature, in the Vedic literatures, in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Right? Kunti's prayers themselves, such wonderful prayers. Gajendra's prayers. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's prayers to Krishna in chapter 11. Right? And Prabhupada talks a lot about the supreme persons, like the highest person in this world, Brahma. What are his prayers called? Brahma Samhita, right? That's why Prabhupada, gave us this daily practice of singing that one of his prayers for Darshanarthi every day. Right? So Brahma's prayers. Then there's also Lord, in the Bhagavatam there is Lord Shiva's prayers, songs by the Lord Shiva, which he gives to Prachetas. and in Hamsagohya prayers. There are so many different prayers that are there, and we should take the opportunity of reciting these prayers. Right? And they should be beneficial. Right? Even Hiranyakashipu prayed. But what did he pray for? Right? So we have to pray in a beneficial way. And then obviously not agitating to others. So in fact, in the Rupa Goswami, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is actually sort of documenting everything and categorizing it and giving, a lot of clarity to all these things. And Rupa Goswami talks about 3 kinds of prayers that we are supposed to recite on a regular basis. And specifically, at least two of those kinds you're supposed to do daily. The third one needs a little bit of level of elevation to decide the third level of prayers, or third categories of prayers. So Rupa Goswami says that the first kind of prayers is called Samprarthanatmika. Complicated word. Samprarthanatmika. Meaning, sam means complete. Samprarthanatmika prayers. So the Samprarthanatmika prayers, these are meant, when you say, when you are saying, "Oh Lord, you're so wonderful. Let me be enchanted by your smile." Right? You're so, let me be enchanted by your lotus feet. Let me always remember your lotus feet. When you say prayers that are full of emotion, like these are emotional prayers of wanting to be attracted by the Supreme Lord. That's what Krishna means. All attractive. So these prayers are all in the mood of how can we be enchanted by the Lord. And then we are talking about how do we connect with it, or restore that. Some means completeness. How do we restore that complete connection with the Lord? How do we, start serving the Lord in full sincerity? Right? So these prayers are meant to re-establish that connection, that complete connection with the Lord. Right? The second kind of prayers, these are called Dhainya Buddhika prayers. Dhainya Buddhika. It's translated as awakening prayers. So what happens is, as we slowly advance in spiritual life, a kind of awakening or realization starts manifesting in our hearts. We start seeing what kind of really, really bad people we are. Right? We'll slowly start seeing, my heart is full of envy for other living entities. Why other living entities? My own God brothers and God sisters. Right? And all kinds of crazy desires that we have in our hearts. Right? This is the second level. Many people don't get to that level at all. They're very happy with themselves. They don't see any faults in themselves at all. They'll see all faults in everybody else. So eventually we'll get to a stage where we're able to see our own faults, and we are praying to the Lord for His mercy to get rid of those faults. Oh Krishna, why am I encaptured by Maya like this? Please help me be attracted to you so that I'm not attracted by Maya. Why am I so envious? Why do I speak harsh words? Why do I, not have good relationships with my God brothers and God sisters? Please help me to control my anger. We have all these different prayers. In fact, there is a lot of importance given to be very specific in your prayers, what you're asking to the Lord. We should be aware of our defects and pray to the Lord specifically for fixing those particular defects. It's a very personal relationship, right? We can also pray, oh Lord, I'm so fallen. I really don't deserve to be in the association of devotees, but somehow always keep me in the association of devotees. Because the reality is, if we continue to offend devotees in different ways and don't repent for it and don't try to, not just repent, you have to change yourself too. You can't be disingenuous. You can't be doing the same thing and saying, oh Lord, I'm so sorry. You have to be sincere. There has to be some improvement, at least a little bit of improvement in our interaction with others. So this is the second kind of prayers called Dainya Buddhika prayers. And then eventually, when all anarthas get taken out of our heart, we can come to the third level of prayers, which is called Lalasmayi prayers. Lalasmayi. These are prayers are in perfection, when we attain a real perfection. Now these are talking about, when you go beyond anartha nivritti, you develop asakti, ruchi and all that. It is spontaneous love for the Lord. Right? The spontaneous attraction for the Lord. So these prayers will just flow out of your mouth. We don't have to do any big drama to do that, because we have that intense love for the Lord, intense attraction for the Lord. And so we use that, right, to give heartful, loving prayers to the Supreme Lord. So we're seeing here that just by praying, we are able to elicit a jihasa, smiles from the Supreme Lord. And that is the perfection of what we're looking for. So we see here that living entities have only two choices. Either we can be enchanted by Krishna's smile, or we can be enchanted by Maya's artificial smile. Right? You're only smiling for a few seconds, and then the true nature will come out. Secondly, we see that in this world we're looking for Vaikuntha, for no anxiety. We're looking for the bountiful mercy of the Lord, and then love and reciprocation. But we're looking for it in the wrong places, in the wrong things, from wrong people. And then we will not get it. And the way to get the Lord's mercy and His smile is by prayers. Right? The three kinds of prayers, which is the Samprarthanatmika prayers, or complete prayers, Samprarthanatmika, and then Dainya Buddhika, and Lalasmayi prayers. Okay. So we see here Kunti Devi has finished her prayers, and the Lord starts talking back to her after this. So we'll stop here. Anybody has any quick questions or comments? Yes. Truth always pains others, okay? How can we be truthful and still be pleasing to others? That's a good question. In fact, that's why it's a little bit of an art than just blunt science. Because you have to understand what that person is capable of taking. I was recently talking to somebody else also. The last few years has been, at least last 1 or 2 years, has been very, like, I'm learning a lot of lessons the hard way. And it's slowly sinking in. And one of the lessons that I'm still trying to learn, but it's important for all of us to learn, is that we living entities are set in our ways. You see, sometimes we say, there is a Kannada saying, Gidavagi baggaddu maravagi bagite. Meaning, Gida means small plant. Baggu means bend. If a small plant cannot be bent, will it ever bend when it becomes a tree? Maravagi bagite. Yeah, it's Kannada version, Telugu version of it also, I guess. There's every version of the same thing. Must be Hindi version as well. So, we are sort of set in our ways. We say, right, especially the older you get, can you go change an old person's thinking? Have you ever tried? They are determined to do whatever they want to do. Whatever you say, like falling off. Somehow or other, they will do whatever they want to do. They may go behind you, they may go side of you, but they will do what they want to do. When you really think about this for a second, we living entities have had thousands of lives. Unfortunately, we have become Mara already. We are set in our ways. This is only sincere, only thing that can change. What can change? What can change you? Huh? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Your willingness, there is no willingness to change. There is no thinking that will change. Nothing will change. You try yourself also, even if you are sincere, even if you recognize your problem, there are very few people who are actually sincere. Okay, let us be honest about it. Even if you recognize your problem, same problem, it is 100 times you will do the same mistake. You will say, I should not speak harshly to this person today. And you will try one day, 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. Something that person says, it will come out. Right? We are set in our ways, so are others. The only thing that can change is by chanting Hare Krishna. Slowly and slowly, the example also is like, take a big boulder you've seen. Have you seen this? I have actually seen this practically. In this Bangalore construction when you're doing, physical, they will take a chisel, iron chisel, and they'll keep hitting. All day they'll be hitting. What happens? Little by little, they'll just go and create a big stone. They will go little by little, they'll create a small line first. And then they'll keep hitting. Once they create that line on top, they'll keep hitting the same place again and again and again and again. If you're looking at it, what is this useless labor this person is doing? Same place is hitting, no change, right? Big boulder, one small, what will come out with a iron, this thing, and this little chip will come. But then that pressure is being put in the same place. Granite, like it cleaves itself. It just literally breaks like a fine line. Just it splits itself apart. So like that, hopefully, if we keep chanting Hare Krishna, one day that break will happen. But till then, we have to know the person's limitation. We should not expect perfect reciprocation from other living entities surrounding you. But they are not Supreme Lord. And they are not in Vaikuntha. We have to understand that. Everybody has a limitation. And that is why, as Amitabh Prabhu was telling, find the good in the people. Everybody is bad. And understand the level of what they can understand, what they can, when you talk to them also, how much can they change? That's why it's an art. Tell them something that they can actually maybe a little bit. Even that also 1 or 2 times you try, then you know that they will not. And then you try to create situations so that you limit the damage they will do. So that is what you are trying to speak the truth. But it should be spoken in a way that is pleasing and beneficial to the person. If you can't keep telling the person, you are like this, you are like this, you are like this, you are like this, he knows also he is like this. Initially they may have some little bit of this thing to accept also. You keep saying you are like this, they will stop you on that. They will stop you and accept, they will just bounce back on you. One day they will bounce back on you and say, get lost. Right? So this is the lesson. It's a very difficult lesson. I'm telling you, practical experience. It's very difficult to even practice this. I can talk about it now. Theory, I know. Practice, I'm still practicing. Right? You just have to limit. But why? What is your hurry also? Like, what is your hurry in changing everybody in this world? Are they taking the medicine? Make sure they're taking the medicine. And all of us will do damage. So put them in a situation where damage is limited. That is your responsibility, especially if you are a leader. Put people in places where damage is limited. And whatever they can do, let them do. So if you are in a little bit in that mood, then you can talk pleasingly also and still be truthful and be beneficial and not agitate and speak from the Shastras. That is why one of the important things, I heard this from somebody and I'm trying to emulate in my day-to-day interactions. Whenever you're talking to anybody and trying to preach to them or trying to get them to do something different, connect it to Krishna. Tell some story about Prabhupada, tell some story about Krishna, tell some story about something about the Lord. As soon as you bring the Lord's words and Lord's pastimes or something that happened that is related to what you're trying to say, and then say that. Just that hearing the word Krishna, hearing the story of Krishna or the pastime of Prabhupada, just softens the person and makes them more receptive to hearing. Right? Then you have a chance of trying to please them and be truthful at the same time. Okay? Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.